I am a mother of two, and my beautiful daughter is engaged to be married to her boyfriend of 2 years. My daughter and her fiancé are doing a budget-friendly, family-friendly wedding in our local church, with the reception being held at our house afterwards, where they then plan to honeymoon in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. It's a very lovely and simple wedding plan. The problem arises with my son, who proposed to his girlfriend a month before my daughter got engaged. He's managed to do well for himself, and was lucky enough to have a girl from a wealthier family fall in love with him. Since she is from a wealthier background than we are, I've noticed she expects my son to give her more extravagant gestures, gifts, than what the family is used to. For his proposal, he took her sailing in Charleston, which was already a more lavish trip than what my daughter is getting for her wedding. This especially bothers me because my son was the one who helped my daughter's fiancé plan his proposal, which was a much simpler picnic outing. With him knowing that the two of them were going to propose so close in time, he should have toned down his proposal so that my daughter didn't feel outshined during her big moment by her brother of all people. I told my son how I felt about this, and he apologized, but at that point, the damage had already been done, so there was no point dwelling on the matter. However, now their wedding planning is coming up, and he seems to be trying to repeat the situation. They're debating getting married in either Greece or Italy, which I find absolutely unnecessary and cruel considering people will compare his sister's wedding to this. I immediately told him that if he got married outside of our zip code, let alone mainland USA, he could already say goodbye to any of his family attending. I also told him that his sister was not lucky enough to marry into money like he was, and she should take her feelings into account considering how much more weddings mean to girls versus guys. He told me he didn't care if his family couldn't come, and wasn't going to ruin his wife's wedding for his sister to feel better. I think he's being incredibly rude and inconsiderate about both his sister's feelings and the family's, as we are not the type who can afford to travel to such places. I think his fiancé is also for orchestrating this whole ordeal knowing our financial situation. My son is mad at me for asking him and expecting him to tone down his wedding for his sister's sake, and to be considerate of our side of the family. I don't feel like I'm in the wrong, and just because his fiancé has a Pinterest board of ideas and a fantasy doesn't mean it's fair to other people in the real world. But I wanted to verify with Reddit to see if I was actually in the wrong here. Edited to add. I wanted to add that it seems like a lot of people in the comments are ignoring that by doing this destination wedding, my son and future daughter-in-law are practically alienating our whole side of the family because they know we can't afford the travel costs. They should have a family-friendly wedding in the area and could then branch out like this for their honeymoon. Yes, the a-hole. Why does your daughter's wedding matter more than your son's? Because daughter is the golden child, yes? Yes, the a-hole. Your children are planning their own separate weddings. Your son shouldn't have to be restrained by his sister's budget. OP. By harping and dwelling on the inequality, you are making matters worse. By continually pointing out that your son's engagement and wedding are more lavish than your daughter's, you are diminishing the importance of hers. Just because hers are less posh doesn't mean they are less special and meaningful to her. Focus on the meaning of the wedding, the joining of two people in marriage. OP. Yes, the a-hole. Yes, the a-hole. First of all, conventional wisdom says that it was your daughter's fiancé who made the faux pas by proposing so soon after the engagement of a sibling. Generally, that's considered stealing thunder, but it sounds like brother was consulted and involved, so it is all fine. However, your son has no obligation to tone down his proposal. If daughter's fiancé had any issues with the disparity in proposals, it was on him to wait to avoid the comparison. And ditto to the wedding. They chose to get engaged shortly after a sibling, so it's on them to make any accommodations they feel are necessary. The sibling who got engaged first is not required to make any changes to their plans, just because another sibling jumped on the wedding bandwagon right after they did. Sounds like the siblings are happy for each other though. You are the one with issues. You very clearly have a favorite child. I'm not surprised your son doesn't care about whether or not you attend his wedding. Edit to your edit. With the way you are acting, you shouldn't be surprised at all that your son and daughter-in-law don't particularly care if you attend their wedding. They may in fact prefer it, and that's one of the benefits to them of a destination wedding. The sheer gall to criticize someone's engagement. My lord, who would want someone like that at their wedding? I'm not normally a fan of destination weddings, but if going to Greece or Italy is what allows them to have the wedding they want with the added bonus of no one criticizing the bride and groom for outshining other people on their own wedding day, then that's the option I would choose too. My parents divorced when I was 5 because my dad was cheating on my mom with Emma. The divorce was pretty damn awful for me. I remember my dad being pissed that my mom was exposing his affair to the courts and was attempting to get primary custody with him getting every other weekend. My mom was pretty wrecked by what dad did. I remember a lot of sadness and crying as well as some anger. My dad and Emma moved in together during the divorce, and I still remember how he introduced Emma to me and how ducked up it was. He told me he loved Emma, and he wanted me to love Emma too, and let her be my mom, and how she would be such a good mom too. Emma was all about asking me to be her daughter and stuff. Then at their house, I would hear them say my mom was trying to hurt them and was being mean. My mom sat me down during the whole thing and told me that she and my dad did not like each other anymore, and she and Emma also had problems. But she told me that I could feel however I wanted to, that she didn't want me to dislike anyone for her sake. She was just telling me so I was aware of why certain things wouldn't be happening going forward, and why she might be more quiet around them, but that it was okay for me to like and love them and be happy with them, and to never be afraid to show that. It took a few months for me to want to try, but it quickly ended because Emma started introducing herself as my mom. This was before the divorce was even finalized. I did spend an equal amount of time with both parents for a few years, but when I was 12, I chose to live with my mom. A couple of years before that, Emma got pregnant and she lost the baby, and she almost died during the miscarriage. It made Emma infertile, and I remember my dad telling me about it and how she would need me more than ever. I think Emma held on to some hope that growing up would make me feel different about her, and she would get to experience some of the more fun mom stuff with me someday. But I just tolerate her and my dad, and it's really hard some days. They never stopped hating my mom and saying it around me. Now I'm engaged and already have the venue decided, invitations picked out, dress purchased, bridesmaid's dress bought, and I even did flowers and went shopping with my mom for her outfit. I also asked my mom to walk me down the aisle and do a mom-daughter dance with me. I have not included Emma in anything, and when I told my dad I had asked my mom to do the dance and walk with me, Emma burst into tears and ran off, according to him. They say I should have carved out a space for her in all this, that after her miscarriage and never being able to carry her own child, I should be trying to include her more, and that the lack of special place for her makes me an a-hole. Am I the a-hole? The old saying, "You've made your bed, so lie in it," comes to mind here. Your father destroyed you and your mom's life by not keeping it in his pants, and now is angry that your life isn't going exactly the way he planned. I hope you and your mom dance with all the love in your hearts, enjoying your moment. Your father and his other woman will just have to get over it, not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. Your father and Emma both contributed to ruin your mother's marriage. They had an affair. They spoke bad things about her, and they really expected you to have a good relationship with a woman that mistreats your mom. You are not Emma replacement child. It's their fault that you don't have a relationship with her. And let's be honest, if she was able to have a child, she wouldn't be bothering you. You are allowed to not have a relationship with her. You don't have any responsibility to deal with her feelings and pretend like the last didn't happen. I, female 32, been dating John, male 37, for 2 years. He's a single dad of 3 kids, 4 male, junior, 6 male, 9 male. I moved in with him and his kids a little while ago. I have to say that he's super protective of his kids. I haven't been able to meet them till later because he said they might not like me, and so he started easing them into accepting me by encouraging me and pushing me to be extra friendly to them, by buying them stuff and cooking for them daily. He's very busy oftentimes, and the boys have now clinged onto me because they see me more than they see him. Don't get me wrong, I'm grateful for this outcome, but the issue is that I can't be away from them for a long time, more than hours. Now that I've moved in, I can't go anywhere without taking them with me. I can barely have time for myself, but what's worse is that my work got interrupted by that. John suggested I work less hours, but it didn't happen. Now, my sister is getting married soon. It'll be held hours away, so I'll have to travel. The invitation stated child-free, so I can't take the kids. When John heard about this, he told me to immediately call and apologize because I won't be attending. I was stunned. I asked why, and he went on about how much the kids adore me and how they'll go crazy when I'm hours away from them. Besides, that he's too busy to look after them. I said it's not my fault, and he should either take time off work and stay with them or get a babysitter. He threw a fit about how selfish and unfeeling I was, and that he will only let me attend the wedding when I tell my sister to let the kids come. But I can't ask such a thing of her. I insisted on going after he kept saying I shouldn't go. He went and told the boys that I was looking for an excuse to get some time away from them then, and now they won't even speak to me. I confronted him about what he did, and he said it's the result of me insisting on going to the wedding and choosing my sister over my stepkids. He even said I should be thankful the kids accept me for who I am and are giving me this much attention. I was speechless and felt offended. Am I the a-hole for standing my ground and wanting to go? She's my only sister, and we have a great relationship, so not attending her wedding can cause issues. Editing for some information. To answer the question about the biological mom, his eldest is from his late wife. He then dated an ex-girlfriend and had his middle and youngest child with her. Now she's out of the picture. The eldest used to be kind of distant from his half-brothers and had issues with them for years. I was left to navigate through that and help him rebound with them. Like I said, all of them like to spend time with me, so as a result, they are bonding together, which is a great thing. John was clearly too busy to try to fix this problem a long time ago. Not the a-hole. This man is taking advantage of you. The fact that he asked you to work less hours is a major red flag in my opinion. Sweetheart, wake up and see the red flags. You are just the free childcare. If he really thought of you as a partner, he wouldn't ask you to cut your hours to watch his kids. He wouldn't be leaving them for long stretches. He wouldn't be involving them in adult conversations. And most importantly, he wouldn't be isolating you from your family. Yes, go to your sister's wedding, but seriously think about returning to this living situation where you are just the unpaid help, not the a-hole. Oh my God, run. Run, 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 fast. Not the a-hole. You are entitled to attend an event without his kids. The real big red flag is how he handled it with the kids. He threw you under the bus and didn't have your back. Get out. He will manipulate every situation to his advantage and convenience. You will always be treated badly unless you fit with his plan. I, 41 male, and my wife, 38, have 3 kids, 4, 9, 12. We also have a nephew, 20, on my side, and a few nieces and nephews on her side. Every summer we go on a wilderness adventure. But 4 years ago, we were a bit worried about being overwhelmed with the newborn and 2 other kids. I asked my nephew, then 16, if he would like to come on vacation with us. The deal would be that my wife and I would pay for everything, and he babysits the older kids when they want to do an activity, but we need to chill with the baby. Nephew agreed, and the trip was a smashing success. We were so happy with how things turned out that we repeated the arrangement every following year. Having an extra set of hands has made our vacations more of a vacation. My wife's oldest niece turned 16 this year, and her mom expected us to bring her on our vacation, but we didn't. Our niece is a great kid, but she doesn't have a driver's license yet, isn't good with kids, and isn't much interested in physical activity. I'm sure she would have had fun looking at the beautiful scenery and swimming in the springs, but her presence wouldn't decrease our workload and would have significantly increased the cost of our vacation. Not to mention, it would set an unaffordable precedent for our other nieces and nephews. We returned yesterday, and my sister-in-law has made some passive-aggressive posts on social media. Even my mother-in-law, who I have a great relationship with, said she's disappointed that I didn't think about my niece's feelings. I do care about my niece, and I would have taken her if it wasn't so expensive, but I don't feel like we are obligated to take her. Am I the a-hole? Let's reframe this. You hired your nephew to be a nanny on your vacation because he was a good fit and super qualified. Your niece isn't qualified. You don't owe anyone a free vacation, not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. You don't owe anyone a free trip, even family. In fact, it wasn't really an entirely free trip for your nephew because he also doubled as a babysitter. That sounds like an awesome arrangement, by the way, and I'm glad it works well for you guys. If her mom really wants her to go, she can pony up the money and take her. Not the a-hole. Just clarify that taking your nephew is for him to lessen your burden, aka babysit, and you don't need another set of hands. Your family is welcome to foot the bill for your niece to go, though, because your nephew pays by doing a job, and she'll just sit around. If that's not to their liking, your niece's parents and other family members are welcome to go to their own vacation, taking her, and you'd be glad to share your contacts, arrangement details, and your experience if they choose to go to the same place.